with co-founder Marina Torres.
Good evening, Dike. Thank you very much for that introduction.
The pleasure is mine. Give me a little overview about Parenting TT, please.
The Parenting TT is a parenting organization that came about because of the work that Marilyn, Barbara, and I did individually in our professions, working with children and with families. And we found that parents seemed to lack information that we thought were available on parenting, on how to help their children, and how to advocate for them. So we came together and decided that we wanted to look at ways in which we can help them. So we started first with looking at parenting groups, parenting support groups. Barbara and Marilyn were teaching in the classroom. I was working in a private practice. And so we started talking to parents to find out what they need. Then we did newsletters. We started simply newsletters we did on our computer and distributed them. And as we proceeded, we realized that there was a need for a lot more information in terms of helping parents to recognize, one, that they had a lot of the knowledge that they needed to parent their children, but they needed support systems to use their support systems well. They needed also to know how to advocate for them, and they needed to take care of themselves, especially. So we began to do workshops, we began to work with schools through their PTAs, and we started doing work with children as well. So we've developed over the years, and we proceeded to do counseling with parents in our offices. We proceeded to do psychoeducational evaluations of children with learning problems and train facilitators to work with parents.
But how easy was it to start that ball rolling, Marina? And I ask the question because it may be one thing for a parent to say, hey, my child not getting this from somebody else, or my child not getting this from this institution. But to actually say that I need help to do this a little better. What was that process like in the beginning?
Well, parents did say they need help because, well, I have a private practice. I'm a development and education specialist. So I was seeing parents who came in because they were referred or by teachers. Most of the referrals are by teachers, or their nurse at the health center, or pediatrician, or they were self-referred. Parents are often very, very willing to seek help for their children who are not doing well in school. So whether it's behavior or academics, they often are more willing. They may less, at that time, what was also helping to feed it was that Barbara and I were doing on-air presentations, so that Alison Hennessy, rest her soul, had a weekly segment where I would speak in the evening show, and I would come on, I would talk about parenting and child development, so that helped to feed it. We also did a 5-minute version on 97.1, where we shared parenting tidbits. I did that for a year. Barbara did it for longer. And so that we were giving parents permission to accept that they could ask for help, because people didn't think that it was something that they should do. Because I'm a parent, I'm supposed to know how to do it.
And with that in mind, I want to ask, what is innovative parenting? Because I see that is something that is espoused in the overview of, or the mission rather, of Parenting TT.
It's interesting that you asked that question, because I remember when we were doing a strategic planning some years ago, we were going back and forth with, can we make people innovate, or are people supposed to innovate? Can we empower people, or are they supposed to empower themselves? And our role is to facilitate parents in their parenting so that they learn to become empowered and they can use basic rules about parenting and innovate per child or per situation using facts so that you know what the basic facts are, you know what the ground rules are about development, and you know ways, hopefully they're aware of ways to respect their children and to be models for their children. So our role is to teach it, but to teach it in ways that are facilitated, that are supportive, that helps them to feel empowered, and that helps them as well to feel respected, so they don't feel, well, I'm coming here so it means something is wrong with me. They already feel that. But how do we help them to realize you are doing the right thing, and you can come up with ideas, and you can bounce it off people who know and discuss it even among your peers as parents, and use strategies, not because my granny said so, my mom used to do it, but because this child needs something different, and not because everybody else did it or it worked for everybody else.
And you may be a very different individual, and you can see that from your child. So what granny worked with you definitely might have a very different kind of reaction if you use it on your offspring. But in the last little time before we take this break, from 1995 to 2020, so what have some of those differences been like during the pandemic, the work that you find yourself doing, where people might not want to really innovate as opposed to say shore up the wagons and make sure, okay, well, we survive. They have food, they breathe in. All right. What has that interaction been like with parents and parenting TT during this period?
Okay, so as you said, it has not been easy, both for parenting TT and for parents. We've had our trials and errors because we are an NGO and we depend on funding. So we had several limitations in terms of raising the kind of income we need, but we have gotten good support from different organizations, Canadian High Commission, and some corporate bodies. And at present, we are entitled to a subvention from the Ministry of Social Development. However, National Family Services, sorry. However, in terms of parent awareness, we have seen an increase in parents seeking help, but there are fluctuations. So parents seeking help is dependent on stresses in the environment. So with more stress, you may have more parents seeking help, but you may also have less parents because they're so stressed out by what is happening. Like with the pandemic, parents are calling in but not necessarily scheduling. So we have to kind of nudge them. And then with depression in the economy or loss of income, we have to find ways to seek funding to help them get the services they need.
And in
So
terms
they're
of
seeking
and in terms of
help
finding
in
that way to help people succeed and to be their better selves for the sake of both themselves and their children, we want to speak about the journey through separation and the divorce. When we return, we are speaking with Marina Torres. Stay with us. We return.
D-Best Baby Registry is here. At dbesttoys.com, we want to help you get everything needed to comfortably welcome your new baby. dbesttoys.com is loaded with all the baby essentials to suit your style and safety needs and to fit everyone's budget. Parents can create their baby registry from the comfort of their homes. Just log on to dbesttoys.com and click on the registry tab. Browse all our items from cribs, strollers, car seats, walkers, and bouncers to feeding and nursing accessories, potties, play mats, clothing, and sensory toys, and simply click Add to Registry. Parents also enjoy 10% off their remaining items in their registry upon completion. Be gifted with what you really need to keep your baby happy and healthy, and create the best baby registry at dbesttoys.com today.
The Mother Church of the Anglican Diocese suffered significant damage during the earthquake of 2018. Efforts are underway to raise funds to restore this national heritage site. You are invited to make your donations with monthly deposits at any branch of the First Citizens Bank, account number 2696950, Marval Road Branch, in the name of the Incorporated Trustees of the Anglican Holy Trinity Cathedral Restoration.
Welcome back. We are going in depth on the work of parenting TT. We're doing this with co-founder Marina Torres, and there is some coursework that is coming up, Miss Torres. Tell us a little bit about it. Thank you.
Okay, because of the pandemic, we've been having online webinars, and through those webinars, we have picked up on the needs of parents. One of them was that parents were sharing issues dealing with separation and divorce, co-parenting children where there is separation and divorce, and also taking care of themselves. So we did a webinar in December that was run by two attorney-at-laws, a couple, and myself, and that covered some of the legal issues related to separation and divorce and co-parenting. And we asked parents to indicate what do they think they need, what more information they need. And out of that, we decided to design this course where we can provide more information to parents and people who work with parents in similar situations. So it's not just for parents who are going through separation and divorce, but also for people who may work with them, who may want more advice as to what are some of the legal issues they need to be aware of, and what are some of the ways that they can guide and support parents in the psycho-emotional area of that issue.
And I'm really glad you raised that point, Ms. Torres, because sometimes we feel it's just the person going through it who needs to have this kind of capacity built versus people that they interact with, because you throw a stone in and you see those ripples, they're touching things wider than just that point of entry. So being able to say, okay, well, I am the godfather of this child, and therefore I interact with this person. They may have asked me to be godfather because we have a relationship before. So to be able to offer that air, that shoulder, to know how to do it. So, but at the same time, you're not sure what is a touchy subject, how to deal with it. But how do people register for this webinar, and when does it take place?
Okay, and I'm glad you raised that point about I'm a godfather, because like I said, our goal in Parenting TT is to encourage parents to develop their support system. So parents can come, a granny can come, an auntie can come, yes, the godparent can come. So how do we register? We have several ways. We have our email address, parentingtt@gmail.com. We have our website, www.parentingtt.org. We have our telephone numbers, 347-5424, 753-4788, and 390-2802. And we are on social media, so Facebook, Instagram, the likes. And we want to encourage people to really think about the benefit of doing this course. The course costs $1,100 for 4 sessions for individual, $1,700 for couples, and we are also offering the option. There are 2 parts to the course. Session 1 and 2 are going to be facilitated by the attorney-at-laws, and sessions 3 and 4 are going to be facilitated by me. So I will be covering the psycho-emotional focus, communication, co-parenting, self-care, and the attorney-at-laws will facilitate understanding and navigating the separation and divorce laws of Trinidad and Tobago. So parents can attend all sessions, or they can choose whether they want to attend part 1 or part 2 at the cost of $600. So we are trying to facilitate their need, and the cost is cheaper than going to an attorney-at-law.
Thank you for putting that into context. And one of the things I wanted to ask as well is, what has the response been like so far? Because this is some pretty heavy stuff. It's timely, but it's heavy. And I can imagine a couple wondering, okay, well, because going to a course like this, okay, well, yes, we get a better price, but that is almost like a sort of, I want to say, a final nail in the coffin, like, yes, this is happening. So do I acknowledge that this is happening? So I try to tool myself to deal with it, as opposed to just, no, I'm not going to that. I don't believe it's happening. I'm going to fight against it. What are some of those things that you're getting in terms of like people wondering whether or not they should, or are they saying, okay, well, yes, this is for me?
That's interesting as well, because what we found coming out of the webinar in December was that there are people who, when they got this information, because there was counseling and empathy involved, both with the attorney-at-law and me, they began to really see, this is how this is going to impact me. This is how it's going to impact my children. And in my practice, and even the attorney-at-law say, there are people who have reunited after getting all of this information, because we're dealing as well with people who are hurt. And we try to help them to understand how to deal with their hurt. We are not providing counseling for the couples. We are providing knowledge to help them to understand what's happening to them, and to understand that how they will feel when the separation begins, the loss and the grief and the bereavement of this relationship that they didn't plan to end, and then the impact on children. And what we are really trying to do is, we are not advocating separation or divorce. What we are trying to do is hold people's hands if they have decided, I think I need to go this way. And it's very likely that after we presented the information and we have facilitated their understanding, that people may decide, okay, I'll go get some counseling for this. I'll go and get some more advice, maybe from my attorney, and then we really look at, do we want to end this relationship or do we want to fix it? But maybe you need to end it. So if you decide to end it or take a trial separation, this is the information you need to have. This is what is involved. This is how it affects children. This is how it affects the finances. This is how it affects the property. And this is what you need to do for yourself.
Ms. Torres, I'm listening to you speaking, and I'm hearing Dorothy Moore with pen in hand. And I'm hearing the child at the end of the song asking these questions, whether or not it's something they did wrong, when they're going to see the parent again. And I'm really glad that we're having this conversation. But how many people are there in the cohort, and what are some of those things that you really want to see coming out of this and possibly leading to the next encounter that you have?
So I don't know the numbers right now. I know several people have called. When we had the webinar, we had about 12 persons who indicated interest. People have called, whether, I'm not sure how many people have registered as yet. The course starts on Saturday the 19th of March, which is next week. So we really have been on the media trying to ramp up interest, because we've had a lot of interest. We have also reached out to people who serve people who have these needs. And we hope that more people will call, because very often when we finish a course, there are people who say, oh, I didn't know you had this, and I wanted to attend this. So we've been doing the media aspect of it, and we have been reaching out to stakeholders who meet clients who have these needs, hoping that the attendance is good. Now, we don't want it to be too large either, because we want to be able to allow people to have conversations. So if the demand is greater than we can accommodate, we will have a part 2.
That is really what I wanted to ask about in terms of that cohort. So not necessarily people who registered, but whether or not there's a cap, because sometimes you see a lot of people and they say, I'm just going to hold my corner. But we want to thank you very much for the work that you and the Parenting TT are doing. And hopefully this message falls on fertile ground for the persons who need it and can avail themselves of your services. And on behalf of the entire TTT News team, I'm Dike Rostant. This has been In Depth. Thank you for joining us.
The winning numbers in the National Lottery online draws for Wednesday, 9th March 2022 at 10:30 a.m. Playway, the number 5, Parcel Man. Pick 2, the numbers 36 and 21 in that order. Pick 4, the numbers 2, 9, 7 and 7 in that order. At 1 p.m, Playway, the number 30, House Cat, Mega Ball Hold. Pick 2, the numbers 4 and 17 in that order. Pick 4, the numbers 7, 6, 6 and 4 in that order. At 4 p.m, Playway, the number 7, Hog. Pick 2, the numbers 36 and 2 in that order. Pick 4.